Right, so hello everyone, and welcome back to the MedAngle Premed YouTube channel. And today I'm really excited to introduce you guys to a new venture that we are going on at the with the Premed with the MedAngle Premed team, and it's called the MedAngle Experience. This will basically be a podcast series that we will be doing across the MedAngle Premed YouTube channel. And for the first episode, I'm really excited to bring you guys along the topic of AI in medicine. Now, AI is something that all of us medical students have used at some point of our life, right? Be it our vivas, या फिर be it our preparation for exams, या फिर be it going towards the clinical sides of our studies, right? So we have all used AI at some point of our lives. I personally use it all the time. मेरा जब भी कोई एग्जाम होता है वाइवा होता है, I always take out my phone and मैं last moment तक like एग्जाम से पहले search कर रहा होता हूँ. I'm looking for keywords, I'm looking for explanations, I'm looking for everything so that I can get every piece of marks I can get out there in order to pass my exam. So I would say it's a very vital tool. And today we're going to talk about the nitty-gritties of AI in actual healthcare system, right? And the real question that is being posed these days that will AI replace humans or will AI be taking over our professions and our profession obviously being doctors. So will AI take over as doctors? Yeah, is it a tool that is actually going to help us? So with that, I want to introduce our guest speaker of today, guest speaker of our first episode, Dr. Areeb, who is a fourth year MBBS student at Alhambra Iqbal University, Lahore, and myself, your host, Mohammad Hasan Siddiqui, from a third year MBBS student at Dow Medical College, Karachi. So that is a little intro about me, and now I want our guest speaker to just talk about himself and give a brief overview about AI. So Dr. Areeb, over to you.
Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Hassan. That was a wonderful intro, and I'm really excited to be talking on this topic. I think it's very important these days because AI is coming up as a huge field, especially in medicine. इसके अलावा तो हर जगह use हो रही है. Nowadays in healthcare, in even in planning at the government level, it's being implemented, and it's now finally coming in Pakistan as well. So I think it's very important that we talk about this topic, and medical students can relate to this a lot because they're using it for different purposes already. So I think it can make our experience with medicine even better. So, so I think you should start with the questions.
So, Areeb, as we talked about before, AI is one of the things that is being, introduced to the world on a very large scale now, and it has been something that has been, being developed for the past a lot of years now. And I think it's time that it finally starts to get integrated into healthcare as well. So, अभी के time पे, as we talk right now, do you think are there any examples real life में जहाँ पे AI actually में healthcare में at the time as we speak right now कहीं पे use हो रहा होगा AI, and if there are any examples, can you enlist them, can you talk about some areas where AI is actually being used in healthcare?
Yes, so artificial intelligence today, as we know it, is a very huge thing. Or आजकल nearly everyone is using it, from senior doctors to juniors to students to even pre-meds now that are coming in, and some of them are listening to this podcast right now. So I think now AI is first of all being used in clinical decision making. It's being used for diagnostic accuracy. It's being used in different fields like जैसे radiology में अगर हम बात करें तो it's being used in CT scans and MRI imaging analysis, and in pathology, dermatology, you name it, all of these fields. And especially even ये भी है कि अगर डॉक्टर आता है तो उससे पहले जो हिस्ट्री टेकिंग है वो भी एआई कर सकता है आजकल. So I think clinical decision making में it's playing a huge part now. So I think AI is not just being integrated into healthcare. It is already a part of healthcare, and it's going to be even more advanced in the upcoming years, I think. So I think AI is really playing a huge role in this regard.
Indeed, I do believe it also will play a huge role. But if you were to compare, let's say, a third year medical student who is especially completed his studies and is about to enter into the clinical field. So, do you think comparing AI and a medical student, would it be a fair comparison? Where do you think AI stands, and where do you think an actual medical student or a freshly trained doctor stands? Who would be
Yes.
more efficient?
Yeah, I think a specially trained doctor will always be there because AI, however much advanced it is, it can never replace a human. Because there was this quote I was reading that AI will not replace humans, but humans who know how to use AI will replace those humans who don't. So I think this resonates with the fact that AI cannot ever completely replace a doctor, बिकॉज डॉक्टर के अंदर बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं, यानी कि बेसिक ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शंस में जो डॉक्टर का एक रोल होता है, आई थिंक AI कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड दैट. But in terms of knowledge, I think AI is superior in some aspects. But again, when you have to apply them in real life scenarios, so I think उसमें doctors का एक बहुत बड़ा role है. So a medical student should always be aware of the fact that उसकी जरूरत आगे भी होगी. Or in real life scenarios, in conditions, for example, if there's a roadside accident और उस वक्त आपको first aid चाहिए, so I don't think AI can help you there, or even if it can, it won't be very effective. तो इफ यू हैव द नॉलेज, इफ यू हैव द स्किल्स, और उस टाइम पे आपको पता होगा कि मैंने कैसे फर्स्ट एड करना है, कैसे मतलब उस सिचुएशन को हैंडल करना है, तो तभी आप उसको इफेक्टिवली मैनेज कर सकोगे. तो आई थिंक AI विल प्ले इट्स रोल, बट it will still be limited in some aspects.
Perfect. I completely agree with that, and I think the correct answer would be that if we compare who would be more efficient, AI या फिर an actual doctor, it would be a doctor that actually knows how to use AI to his advantage. Perfect. So we talked about comparing a student and an AI. So what do you think? अच्छा एक student है उसका तो let's say he has an entire process of learning, right? He comes to medical school, he starts learning about theoretical stuff, and then he goes out to the hospital and learns about clinical stuff as well, right? So that's an entire mapped out process. But what about training AI? How does AI get trained? उसकी जो training है वो कैसे होती है?
Yes. So AI is basically trained like there are large language models. Like we have ChatGPT, we have Perplexity, we have Grok. These all these Gemini. Every one of these companies has their own GPTs these days. So we can actually train a medical GPT like that, like a custom GPT, and we can do that by feeding it the patient data, the previous experiences, because the GPT learns from its previous interactions. So we can create all the research done in different fields, and then we can use it in real life scenarios, so it understands how to approach different patient conditions. And so AI can be trained in many various ways, and I think AI will be a huge game changer in the fact that it will help you in making decision quickly, because when there's a very fatal condition in some cases, like कोई कैंसर आ गया स्टेज 4, या फिर इसके अलावा कोई MI हो गया, तो उसके अंदर बहुत सारी ऐसी कंडीशंस होती हैं कि मतलब बहुत आपको जल्दी डिसीजन लेना पड़ता है. तो उसमें ये कि आपने सारी प्रीवियस एक्सपीरियंसेस को देखना हो एक ही टाइम पे. तो आई थिंक इफ AI कैन कंपेयर दोस एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड देन मेक अ डिसीजन, it not the final decision, but it can help you make a decision. So I think that can be very helpful.
So what I'm gathering is that it's a very long process of trial and error. You have to feed a lot of data, you have to feed a lot of differential diagnostics, and just go through that period of trial and error to feed that data to AI. So don't you think ये काफी एक लंबा process हो जाएगा, या फिर do you think it is something that has been done already? Yeah, is it currently right now in that transition, या फिर is it still something that is going to take very long to happen?
Well, I think it will take some time, but it's already being done. So AI is learning very fast, and it's changing very rapidly these days. So because everyone is using it, and there's everyone is investing in it as well. So I think it will take some time, but it will happen very soon. And it everything good that comes it does take time. So I think it will continue to support us in many various ways.
अच्छा अरीब, डू यू थिंक ये तो हमने लेट्स से एफिशिएंसी के बारे में बात कर ली कि एआई कितना एफिशिएंट हो सकता है एंड हाउ इट कैन हेल्प द मासेस, बट डू यू थिंक कि कोई उसके डाउनसाइड्स भी हो सकते हैं? डू यू थिंक आर देयर एनी डिसएडवांटेजेस, कोई ऐसी चीज जिसके थ्रू हेल्थ केयर फील्ड में दैट कुड बी जेपरडाइजिंग टुवर्ड्स द फील्ड ऑफ हेल्थ केयर वाया एआई?
अच्छा, आई थिंक इसके अंदर ये है कि क्योंकि बिकॉज AI इज नॉट ह्यूमन, सो उसके अंदर दो तीन चीजें आती हैं. एक तो एक है प्राइवेसी, एंड एक है एथिक्स, पेशेंट इंटरेक्शन. How do you empathize with the patient, how do you understand the patient in a holistic manner, and secondly there's the consent thing. You have to take consent from the patient every anytime you before you treat them. So all of these things are important. And then again, in real life scenarios, like I just mentioned previously, you can't really use AI to deal with those. You can't use AI to make the final decision. And AI is still, because it's learning, so it does make mistakes. So I think it will be used a lot, but at the end, there should be a human who's handling it. behind the scenes.
Perfect. Acha, Areeb, I want to, switch gears a bit and talk about the ethics side of it, right? Obviously, it's still something that is in the development. So, how do you think it can be brought out to the masses? Obviously, it's going to be a huge transition, right? अब तक हम लोगों ने जो whatever we experienced that is conventional doctors होते हैं, you take your case to the doctors, and then they give you a diagnosis, and then they give you treatment, right? But now that obviously AI will be there as well to assist you. So how do you feel like कि हम उसको किस तरह से introduce करवा सकते हैं to the people, and how do you actually convince them that this is something that could actually help you?
So I think one of the ways to introduce people to AI is the very thing we're doing right now is like a podcast or seminars or webinars, conferences, different activities like that. And then because AI is something that can help you in your everyday life. So I think people should learn how to use AI and they should understand how to automate their tasks using AI. And when they already know how effective AI is in their daily lives, then उसके बाद आई थिंक इजी हो जाएगा उनके लिए अंडरस्टैंड करना कि क्यों हम एआई को हेल्थ केयर में भी ला रहे हैं बिकॉज हेल्थ केयर इज समथिंग दैट एवरीवन इज इन्वॉल्वड इन हेल्थ केयर यानी कि नो वन कैन एस्केप फ्रॉम दैट बिकॉज एवरीवन हैज सम डिजीज इन देयर लाइफ या किसी भी कंडीशन से कोई ना कोई गुजरता है तो everyone is affected by it and I think prompt decision making and early diagnosis, these are some things that are very very important and everyone is trying to work on that. So when they understand how effective AI can be in these fields, where they will be much more receptive to it, or they will understand that AI is there to help them, not to do anything that will be contrary to the betterment of their health.
But the thing is, when it comes to AI, the repercussions would be really, high, I would say. Because let's say अगर एक डॉक्टर है, if a doctor makes a mistake, कोई diagnosis गलत दे दिया या फिर treatment में कुछ भी harm हो गया, so there's always that margin for human error, right? कि चलो at the end of the day एक doctor इंसान है, तो उससे गलती हो सकती है. But AI, obviously, there is no room for error, right? How did a system that is backed by such a huge database उससे कैसे गलती होगी, right? तो ऐसी सिचुएशन में if let's say an AI makes a mistake, कोई इस तरह का केस हो जाता है, so what would be the repercussions and what would be the course of action after that, and how do you deal with those patients? उनको आप किस तरह से फिर how do you explain to them कि this is something that that they're gonna have to essentially deal with that right now?
Yes, so I think the first step is कि AI के पीछे जैसे like I said before, एक human ही होगा या humans होंगे जो उसको handle कर रहे होंगे. We're never going to leave the complete decision making to AI itself. But in case the AI does make a mistake, so I think उसको correct भी humans ही करेंगे because AI is it doesn't have a brain of its own. It's advanced. It is definitely very advanced. But in fact AI can improve on its mistakes. But again, the people that are working on it will have to be the ones that are responsible for it. So I think AI is very helpful, but it can be harmful in some cases if not used correctly. So I think it should be employed correctly, and I think and very carefully as well. So that will help the scenario.
Also इसमें I feel like judgment का भी फर्क आएगा. Let's say if obviously AI would not be there on its own, right? There would be a senior doctor that would be supervising it. But so in that case, do you think if there is a difference of judgment, right? If a doctor thinks some way and AI is suggesting something else, right? Treatment के लिहाज से if we're talking about. So who do you think should be trusted more in that case? Should the doctor go with his own judgment, या फिर should he give charge to AI? Obviously it's a system that is backed by huge database, but then again doctor ज़्यादा experienced है उसने he has gone through that entire process, he has seen patients, and he is human at the end of the day. So whose judgment do you think should be preferred at that point?
Yeah, so this is actually a debate that is coming up right now, and इसके अंदर ये है कि judgment में it should be a combination of both. It's what I feel like. Because a senior doctor is at the end of the day, he has more experience. उसने मतलब कि real life में patients देखे हुए हैं. He's gone through those experiences, whereas AI is learning from the data set it has been provided. तो मतलब उसके अंदर the AI can be used to support all the different scenarios, the differential diagnosis and all of that. But again, at the end of the day, the decision should be with the senior doctor. So, but as AI advances, I think AI में बहुत सारी चीजें बेहतर भी होती जाएंगी. So I think at the junior level, maybe the AI will make a better decision. But senior doctors, I think, and then first of all, because in medicine, it is actually a collaborative effort. मतलब different, there's an interdisciplinary collaboration. मतलब जैसे अगर कोई कैंसर पेशेंट है तो उसकी दूसरी कॉम्प्लिकेशंस होंगी तो फिर उसे कार्डियोलॉजी वाले भी डील करेंगे, उसे रेडियोलॉजी वाले भी डील करेंगे, ऑन्कोलॉजी वाले भी करेंगे, तो ये सारे होंगे. तो आई थिंक इट शुड बी अ कलेक्टिव डिसीजन एंड एआई कैन सपोर्ट दैट डिसीजन, बट at the end of the day, it should be the senior doctor.
Perfect. And I think you wrapped it up really well. And it again really brings us back to our point that AI still is in that transition phase. वो transition अभी हुई नहीं है. It's still happening. AI अभी भी सीख रहा है. It's still learning on that junior level so that it can maybe one day maybe it can go on to give diagnostics of its own as well and make those risky decisions as well. That's thank you so much for that response, honestly. One
Thank you,
of
sir.
the things that I really want to come to right now is that let's say if a student who is really considering to become a doctor and he has that decision in his hands and he also knows that AI is something that is booming right now. So do you think going for medicine still would be a wise decision for that person or उसको ये सोचना चाहिए कि यार उसने तो already AI इतना dominate कर रहा है and by the time I become a doctor तब तक तो हो सकता है AI ने और ज्यादा take over कर लिया हो या फिर हमें उसको ये चीज दोबारा याद दिलानी चाहिए कि again it's still AI is only something that is going to assist doctors. It's not entirely going to take over, and a good doctor is only someone that knows how to use AI. So how does an upcoming student prepare himself to equip himself with AI and be in terms of it?
Yeah, so I think doctors, yeah, just generally the medical field in ये एक ऐसी field है कि इसके अंदर AI cannot ever replace it completely because you're dealing with humans, so it has to be the humans that are dealing with them. तो अगेन वही एम्पथी वाली बात आ जाती है, वही कंसेंट वाली बात आ जाती है. और अक्सर हमारे सीनियर डॉक्टर्स भी हमें ये कहते हैं कि पेशेंट जो है वो डॉक्टर की बात सुन के ही आधा ठीक हो जाता है. तो आई थिंक दैट थिंग इज स्टिल देयर एंड इट विल बी देयर फॉरएवर. सो उसमें AI will play a part. AI can, because AI is very generic. When you talk to it, it doesn't feel like you're talking to a human. So, when you deal with a human, you understand how that you have to put yourself into that human's shoes. But then you understand how the patient is feeling at the moment. So I think that thing is very, very important. I think generally, understanding about medicine, understanding how your body works is very important anyway. So because you have to live your own life as well. So I think learning medicine and this field will always be very, very important.
Okay, so Areeb, what do you think would be some of the useful tools? जैसे कि we all know कि यार Chat GPT है, Grok AI है, and then there's Bard, Gemini, all that stuff. But obviously there must be some other tools as well that could cater medical students and doctors and people of all levels in healthcare system. So do you know of any such healthcare any AI that could potentially be of help to students of today or maybe even doctors if you would like to suggest? कोई इस तरह के tools होंगे?
So I actually had a list here. There's AI doc, there's shift technology, and there's atom-wise benevolent AI. I mean, there's a whole list here which we can list later. I mean, everyone is working on these days, especially even for medical students. अगर मैं बात करूं, so there are apps like Amboss and even MedAngle. We're working on this as well. So we're developing GPTs that help students, that help doctors, and to organize their data completely. मतलब उसमें सिर्फ उनकी क्लिनिकल स्किल्स में इंक्रीज नहीं होंगे, बल्कि मतलब उनके हर चीज एक ऑर्गेनाइज मैनर में भी आ जाएगी. तो और उसके अलावा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन जो आपके हॉस्पिटल्स में मतलब पेशेंट्स आते हैं उनका रिकॉर्ड्स रखना. फिर ड्रग डिस्कवरी में दिस इज वन ऑफ द फील्ड दैट्स कमिंग अप एज वेल. ड्रग डिस्कवरी एंड द साइड इफेक्ट्स, एडवर्स इफेक्ट्स एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट स्टफ. तो उसके अंदर मतलब ये सारे जीपीटीज जो है वो यूज हो रहे हैं. एंड जीपीटी बिकॉज इट्स लाइक अ जनरेटिव ट्रेनिंग मॉडल, राइट? तो उसके अंदर ये है कि वो स्पेशली उसी काम के लिए डिजाइन होता है. मतलब चैट जीपीटी इज लाइक अ जनरल मॉडल, उसके अंदर आप मुख्तलिफ काम कर सकते हो. बट जो जीपीटी होगा, जो मेडिकल जीपीटी होगा स्पेशली, तो वो उसी के लिए यूज होगा. अब जैसे अगर हम रेडियोलॉजी की बात करें तो रेडियोलॉजी में वही इमेज का एनालिसिस है. पैथोलॉजी में स्लाइड्स का आप देख सकते हैं, ठीक है. स्टैंडर्ड डर्मेटोलॉजी में मुख्तलिफ. ऑन्कोलॉजी में आई वाज लिसनिंग टू इट रिसेंटली कि इसमें कैंसर की डायग्नोसिस के लिए तो उसकी आप ट्यूमर ग्रेडिंग भी देख सकते हैं, स्टेजिंग भी देख सकते हैं, एंड देन डायग्नोसिस, प्रोग्नोसिस, ऑल ऑफ दैट स्टफ. So I think in nearly every field it's coming up, and companies are working on it right now. So it's a very, very highly emerging field.
Also, Areeb, what part do you think medical schools can play in this? Obviously, एक student है on its own तो वो AI के बारे में सीख सकता है. He can learn about all these tools and help himself study. But where do you think do medical schools come in play with this? Obviously, हमने बात की कि AI हमें clinical side पे किस तरह से help कर रहा है. But in order to go towards that clinical side, you have to go through the process of going through a medical school. So where do medical schools stand here? उनका क्या role हो सकता है AI?
मेडिकल स्कूल्स के अंदर एआई जो है स्पेशली जो टीचर्स हैं वो यूज कर सकते हैं तुम मेक देयर स्लाइड्स या मेक या ऑन स्पॉट क्वेश्चंस आंसर करने के लिए कई दफा ऐसा होता है कि टीचर्स दे डू नॉट नो द आंसर्स टू दोस क्वेश्चंस दैट द स्टूडेंट्स आस्क तो आई थिंक एआई कैन बी वेरी यूजफुल देयर आई थिंक एआई कैन बी यूज्ड इन मेडिकल रिसर्च इट्स ऑलरेडी बीइंग यूज्ड देयर इसके अलावा the administration can arrange different webinars seminars just to uh, familiarize the people and the students with AI. तो आई थिंक स्टूडेंट्स ऑन देयर ओन ही इस पर काफी कुछ कर रहे हैं आई थिंक फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जो हमारे यानी सीनियर डॉक्टर्स हैं दे शुड बी यानी कि एक जो स्टिग्मा है ना related to AI at the moment I think it is especially in Pakistan it does exist at the moment because we're not advanced at when we're not making our own models as well so I think that stigma should be removed and we should use AI to our advantage instead of not using it at all या saying कि हम मतलब इसको जरूरत नहीं है कोई तो आई थिंक फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू रिमूव दैट एंड व्हेन वी डू रिमूव दैट फिर उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करें उसको हम इन अ लिमिटेड स्पेस बेशक इस वक्त हम कर लें लेकिन उसको हम स्टार्ट करेंगे उसको इस फील्ड
I completely agree with that. I think it's at this point it's high time we agree that it is just it's still a competitor, and but despite being a competitor, it still can be of great help to us. So we need to come out of that boomer mindset हम superior हैं and we have to हम क्यों उसकी judgment को accept करें and हमने तो इतने time लगा कि सारी चीजें learn करी सब सीखा है so हम ही सिखाएंगे तो हम ही ज़्यादा superior हैं. So yeah, I think this is a very outdated mindset. We really need to come out of it. And I also agree with the fact that medical schools should indeed play their part in teaching students AI. And there are certain platforms such as MedAngle. We're going to talk about it as well. So there are such platforms that are being given to students to as we speak that can highly enable students to up their skill set as well. Okay, so that brings us to my next question. Areeb, what do you think future में let's go to the future अभी तक तो हम present में बात कर रहे थे. Uh, where do you think AI really improves us? अब तक तो एक हमारे हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम चलता आ रहा है कि एक पेशेंट लेट्स से वो बीमार हुआ उसको एक मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ लेट्स से पेशेंट उसको खांसी हुई उसको लेट्स से खांसते हुए खून में ब्लड आ गया खांसते हुए ब्लड आ गया उसको राइट सो ही गेट्स अप ही गोस टू द डॉक्टर उसने वहाँ पे चेकअप करवाया कि अच्छा कुछ टाइम तक वेट करें एंड देन ही रन ऑल दोस टेस्ट एंड देन टेस्ट के बाद ही कम्स टू अ डायग्नोसिस एंड देन उसको ट्रीटमेंट देता है सो इट्स आल्सो वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग प्रोसेस एज वेल राइट तो AI फ्यूचर में वेयर डज इट रियली इंक्रीजेस द एफिशिएंसी ऐसा कौन सा एरिया जहाँ पे AI रेवोल्यूशनाइज कर रहा है हमारे हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम को.
सो आई थिंक फ्यूचर में बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो हम देख सकते हैं लाइक सिनेरियो यू जस्ट मेंशनड बिकॉज इट इज अ टाइम टेकिंग प्रोसेस तो आई थिंक फ्यूचर में ये हो सकता है कि अब ये बंदा जो है वो चैटबॉट से डायरेक्टली पूछे कि मुझे इस सिनेरियो में क्या करना चाहिए और वो जो चैटबॉट है वो इसको वर्ड टू वर्ड उसी तरह बता दे बिकॉज इट एक्चुअली आई एक्सपीरियंस दिस बिकॉज देयर वाज अ सर्जरी ऑफ अ पेशेंट and I asked ChatGPT to tell me what the procedure should be, and it pretty much defined everything word to word what should be done. So because at the end करना तो डॉक्टर नहीं है लेकिन you at least you have an outline के what steps you must take. So I think that is one thing where AI will play a huge role because every person will have the basic knowledge how to treat themselves. इसके अलावा ये कि remote areas में जहाँ पर हमारे पास उस तरह facilities नहीं है तो इसमें टेलीमेडिसिन का रोल आ जाता है तो उसमें ये है कि हम एआई को अगर लोगों को यूज करना सिखा दें कि कैसे एआई को आपने करना यूज तो अब उसके बाद फिर हम लोगों को स्पेशली इन आवर कंट्री जहाँ पर देर आर नॉट इनफ हॉस्पिटल्स स्पेशली इन द रूरल एरियाज तो वहाँ पर दे कैन ट्रीट देयर पेशेंट्स ऑन देयर ओन इन वेरी मतलब एआई को यूज करते हुए बहुत आसान हो जाएगा उनके लिए और आई थिंक इकोनॉमिक इम्पैक्ट भी एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है मतलब इससे कॉस्ट काफी रिड्यूस हो जाएंगी बिकॉज you might not need as many people to be working on the same thing if AI is doing all that stuff. तो I think बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जिसमें काम करने की जरूरत है लेकिन it is very promising. It is coming up and it will definitely improve.
राइट सो अरीब हमने बात की कि मेडिकल स्कूल में किस तरह से एआई को इंटीग्रेट किया जा सकता है फॉर द बेटरमेंट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स बट देयर आर sources as well working like MedAngle. Obviously we are part of MedAngle as well and we know how revolutionizing it is for the lives of medical students. कितना MedAngle help कर रहा है, how it has been the number one tool that I have personally been using since day one to prepare for my exams as well. But now it's going beyond that. It's integrating AI as well. It's giving out AI features as well. So, would you like to talk about some of the AI features that MedAngle is currently offering and how it can benefit medical students of today?
So one of the best features that I found in MedAngle right now is that is actually employing artificial intelligence is super smart search. So what is super smart search? It is basically you search a term like a keyword or a specific medical jargon, and then you find all the smart sets, all the smart summaries related to it. तो मतलब उसमें मुख्तलिफ डिजीज की जैसे अगर आपने कोई स्पेसिफिक डिजीज सर्च की है, कोई आपने पैथोलॉजी सर्च की है, तो उसके अंदर आपको उससे रिलेटेड जितनी भी चीजें हैं वो सारी आपको मिल जाएंगी, तो आप उनको बहुत अच्छे से रिलेट कर सकते हो। क्लिनिकली इसका बहुत फायदा है। और आई थिंक देयर इज वन अदर फीचर इन मेडेंगल दैट आई रियली लाइक इज इट्स कॉल्ड स्मार्ट स्टैट्स। उसमें ये कि आपकी परफॉर्मेंस ट्रैक हो रही है, सब्जेक्ट वाइज भी ट्रैक हो रही है, डे वाइज ट्रैक हो रही है, मॉड्यूल वाइज ट्रैक हो रही है। तो मतलब आई थिंक दिस इज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फीचर। उसमें देयर इज अनदर फीचर कॉल्ड स्मार्ट स्ट्रीक। आपको रोज आप कितने क्वेश्चंस कर रहे हैं ये भी ट्रैक हो रहा है, और कितने करेक्ट हैं कितने नहीं है। फिर उसमें हर क्वेश्चन के अंदर कितने लोगों ने कौन सा ऑप्शन सेलेक्ट किया है परसेंटेज वाइज। तो आई थिंक दिस इज वन ऑफ द फ्यू फीचर्स दैट एम्प्लॉयज एआई, एंड आई थिंक इट्स getting better every day, and we have a lot more features coming in as well.
Eddie, would you tell us where can we find these features? On which app can we find these features?
We can find this on the MedAngle Super app, on the web as well, and on the App Store, the Play Store, everywhere. And it's even getting much faster now. In fact, it's getting even faster than some of the websites, some of the other apps that we usually use. So I think you can find on the MedAngle Super app.
Okay, Areeb. So for now, I think let's tailor down a bit. Can you name any fields जिनमें AI ज़्यादा यूज हो सकता है, जिनके जो कुछ ऐसी फील्ड्स हैं जिनमें AI का इम्पैक्ट बाकी फील्ड से ज़्यादा होगा? आई कैन थोड़ी बहुत मैं खुद लिस्ट कर देता हूँ। लेट्स से रेडियोलॉजी है, ऑन्कोलॉजी है, डर्मा है, देयर आर ऑल दीज फील्ड्स। तो विच पर्टिकुलर फील्ड डू यू थिंक जिसमें AI का ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट होगा, या फिर जिसमें देयर इज दैट ऑलवेज देयर इज अ थ्रेट के AI might replace doctors? तो वो ऐसी कौन सी फील्ड है जिसमें ऑब्वियसली यू आर अ सीनियर मेडिकल स्टूडेंट सो यू वुड नो कौन सी मेडिकल फील्ड है जिसमें कौन सी स्पेशलिटी है वो जिसमें एआई का ज्यादा थ्रेट होगा?
Yeah, so I think the ones you just mentioned, ये इसमें radiology especially बहुत important है। इसके अलावा cardiology भी है one of those fields। Cardiology में you can say ECG interpretation, you can apply machine learning, to assess a patient's condition, उसकी heart की यानी कि risks भी दे सकते हैं। इसके अलावा there's one field that is very unique, it's called genomics। उसमें यानी कि जीन से आप फ्यूचर में जो उसको कोई susceptible diseases हैं आप वो देख सकते हैं। So this is one field where I think AI will play a huge role। एंड इसके अलावा फार्मास्यूटिकल इंडस्ट्री में ड्रग डिस्कवरी एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ उसके अंदर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ऑफ्थल्मोलॉजी में बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो आई थिंक एनी फील्ड, बेसिकली ऑल फील्ड्स, but some of these fields are already using AI to a very large extent. So oncology में cancer diagnosis, so all of these fields are already using this AI.
Perfect, that really makes sense. अच्छा अरीब, something that just came to my mind is that एक डॉक्टर होता है, obviously थोड़ी देर पहले you just mentioned that कि जब एक डॉक्टर मरीज को छूता है तो आधे उसके मसले तो वहीं हल हो जाते हैं, right? तो अब AI obviously it is not a physical entity, it does not literally exist, ठीक है ना? It's just a program, so like it's kind of a software kind of thing. तो where does that element of human empathy come in? कि एक डॉक्टर आया देखने, तो डॉक्टर को देखते ही थोड़ा पेशेंट थोड़ा सा रिलैक्स हो जाता है कि चलो आई एम फाइनली बीइंग अटेंडेड एंड नाउ आई माइट गेट बेटर, ठीक है? लेकिन एआई में that does not exist. It has a huge database, it can help you a lot, but where does that element of human empathy come in?
I think the part where human empathy comes in is a very very huge part. Again, आपने humans के साथ जब deal करना है, so I think the very first interaction should be between two humans. And when a patient comes in, जैसे emergency में कोई patient आया है और उसके साथ उसके relatives भी हैं, तो जो जब डॉक्टर उनके पास जाएगा तो वो उनको एक तसल्ली होगी कि हाँ मतलब ये हमें ट्रीट करेगा। तो आई थिंक दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और फिर आई थिंक जो एआई को अब आप यूज करेंगे तो इट शुडंट बी इन फ्रंट ऑफ द पेशेंट। That I think is one thing. Because when the patient sees के ये डॉक्टर जो है वो AI यूज कर रहा है तो वो सोचेगा कि मतलब इसको पता नहीं खुद भी ये चीजें आती हैं कि नहीं, तो ये उससे हेल्प ले रहा है। लेकिन हालांकि ऐसा होता नहीं है, बिकॉज डॉक्टर्स को पता तो होता है, लेकिन दे कैन स्टिल यूज AI टू देयर एडवांटेज। तो आई थिंक द डॉक्टर्स शुड डील विद द पेशेंट्स देमसेल्व्स ऑन और बिहाइंड द सीन्स दे कैन यूज AI। एंड इसके अलावा अगेन फॉर सर्जरीज लाइक वी मेंशनड अर्लियर, AI असिस्टेड सर्जरीज में इट कैन प्ले अ ह्यूज रोल। or just for history taking or diagnostic accuracy, finalizing the decision, all of that stuff, it can help. But again, the human empathy is something that is very important. तो वो डॉक्टर को खुद करनी पड़ेगी।
Okay, Areeb, as of now, do you have you seen any examples जहाँ पे the general population is actually already okay with using AI या फिर with AI being used on them for their treatments? तो कोई ऐसी examples हैं जहाँ पे ये अभी already हो रहा है?
Yeah, so again, AI assisted surgeries, like I mentioned, उसमें ये है कि जो रोबोटिक पार्ट्स होते हैं वो असिस्ट करते हैं द सर्जन इन द सर्जरी। बट वैसे उस वक्त पेशेंट जो होता है वो अनकॉन्शियस होता है यूजुअली, लेकिन बट कंसेंट तो उनसे लिया जाता है। तो और इसके अलावा यानी उनकी MRI या CT स्कैन्स में इन सब चीज़ों में यूज़ हो रहा है। और आई थिंक पेशेंट्स नाउ आर स्टार्टिंग टू अंडरस्टैंड कि AI इज बिकमिंग मोर एंड मोर एडवांस्ड, एंड एटलीस्ट द पेशेंट्स दैट आर एजुकेटेड अबाउट दिस। बट वही बात है कि हमें मजीद एजुकेशन लाने की जरूरत है, स्पेशली पीपल लिविंग इन रिमोट एरियाज या रूरल एरियाज। तो उनको ये समझाने की जरूरत है कि AI विल प्ले अ ह्यूज पार्ट एंड इट इज बिकमिंग अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर एवरीडे लाइव्स नाउ। तो आई थिंक दिस पार्ट इज स्टिल इन द प्रोसेस, बट ये कि पेशेंट्स आर बीइंग ट्रीटेड with the help of AI, and it will only increase now.
Okay, Areeb, you mentioned AI-assisted surgeries. I'm going to come back to that later. उससे पहले, I want your personal opinion on something. Do you think is it a good idea telling a patient that he or she is being treated with the assistance of AI, या फिर उसको उसकी actual treatment के बाद बताना चाहिए? To maybe that would create an effect. अगर आप let's say patient को पहले बताओ कि आपकी surgery है and we are gonna use AI assisted tools जिसमें हमारा रोल नहीं होगा, तो obviously that it's gonna create some sort of fear, especially अगर आप किसी पाकिस्तानी patient को ये बात बता रहे हो who is not the most literate person. तो उसके mindset पे there could be a psychological effect, right? And if there's a psychological effect, there might be a physical effect as well. So do you think it's a good idea telling the person about the use of AI for their treatment before their actual treatment?
I think because consent is very important. तो consent के अंदर you will have to tell them somewhat about how we're using AI. But again, उनको उसका पूरी तरह उनको educate करना, तो it is a part of a long process जो we should start right now, because if we start then it will take some time for them to understand. But ये कि AI is changing very rapidly, और इसके अंदर ये कि consent में उनको बताया जाए, इसके बाद उनको पूरा प्रोसेस समझाया जाए, और अगर वो समझ आ जाए तो अच्छी बात है। तो और उसके बाद जब उनकी सर्जरी या ट्रीटमेंट हो जाए, आई थिंक उससे पहले हमें कुछ ट्रायल्स कंडक्ट करने चाहिए कुछ पेशेंट्स के ऊपर, यानी कि जो द पेशेंट्स दैट एक्चुअली अंडरस्टैंड कि हाउ AI वर्क्स, और उसके बाद फिर उन ट्रायल्स को पब्लिश। तो आई थिंक इसमें रिसर्च का बहुत बड़ा रोल है। आई थिंक इसमें जब रिसर्च होगी इसी फील्ड में, तो फिर गाइडलाइंस भी बनेंगी, और उसके अलावा उसमें फिर हमारे पास रियल लाइफ पेशेंट डाटा होगा, एक्सपीरियंसेस होंगे, तो वी कैन लीन ऑन दैट। और फिर उसके बाद वी कैन इम्प्लीमेंट इट ऑन अ स्टेट लेवल, and then in every hospital, in every dispensary, or even in the local areas. So फिर I think it is a process, but it will be done very soon.
Perfect. I completely agree with your point, and I want to come back to that whole discussion of AI-assisted surgeries now. So you mentioned that AI-assisted surgeries are something that are already happening as we speak right now, right? तो अरीब, कैन यू नेम सम ऑफ दोस टूल्स? कोई ऐसी मशीन भी, कोई ऐसे robots are also being used these days. So can you name some of those tools that are actively being used right now, and what is their purpose, how efficient they are, and what उनका basically काम क्या है उन tools का, and how they why are they being used at the place they are being used, उनके applications क्या है? So can you name some of those tools?
Yeah. So I actually was looking this up, and in the UK, in the NHS, it's being used. It's called the Da Vinci surgical system, and it's been used for urologic or gynecologic and cardiac procedures as well.
The name's really
So
interesting.
yeah, it's very interesting because it's related to art and all that. And इसके अलावा there's a robotic arm surgeries जिसमें वो and it's already been used in dentistry as well, not just in medical fields but in BDS, dental procedures. इसके अलावा there's another name, this called the Vercius robot, or it's also being used in the UK. It's being used for keyhole surgeries and for reducing patient recovery time. Then Google's developed one. It's called DeepMind, and it's being used to plan radiotherapy treatment. So these are some of those models that are already being used in AI. And I think in cardiology, there's to treat conditions like cardiomyopathies, myocardial infarctions, all of that. ECG. Apple watches are now being used for ECG interpretation. This is one very important, interesting thing I was looking up. तो आई थिंक इवन यानी कि जो डेली लाइफ में हम चीजें यूज करते हैं, एप्पल वॉच इज समथिंग पीपल यूज लॉट, एप्पल वॉचेज या जनरली जो स्मार्ट वॉचेज होती हैं, तो दीज आर गेटिंग वेरी वेरी एडवांस नाउ. मतलब हार्ट बीट देख लेती हैं या पल्स भी देख लेती हैं, ब्रीदिंग रेट, इस तरह की बेसिक चीजें तो ऑलरेडी ये कर रही हैं. तो आई थिंक इट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ आवर डेली लाइफ नाउ.
Indeed, I do agree that it is already a part of our real lives, and हम लोग इतनी डिस्कशन कर रहे हैं कि कब तक एआई का यूज इम्प्लीमेंट होगा, कब तक होगा, विदाउट इवन रियलाइजिंग कि हम जो जो वॉचेस पहन रहे हैं उसमें एआई इंटीग्रेट ऑलरेडी हुआ हुआ है. एंड जो फिटबिट्स आते हैं, आई पर्सनली यूज अ फिटबिट एज वेल, तो उससे आपको पता चल जाता है यू हाउ व्हाट्स योर हार्ट बीट, आपका आपकी परफॉर्मेंस क्या जा रही है, आपके स्टेप्स काउंट करता है, एंड इट रियली गिव्स यू एन इंडिकेशन ऑफ योर कार्डियोवैस्कुलर हेल्थ एज वेल. तो ऑलरेडी काफी यूज हो रहा है एआई का विदाउट इवन अस रियलाइजिंग कि हम कितना उसमें डीपली डुएल कर चुके हैं. अच्छा, अरीब, ये तो हमने जितने भी सारी एग्जांपल्स दी, ये मुझे काफी सुनने में काफी प्रिविलेज्ड एग्जांपल्स लग रही है. एप्पल वॉच हो गई, फिटबिट्स हो गई, के अलावा द डविंची थिंग दैट यू मेंशनड. So these are all very, urbanized terms. But what about a country like Pakistan? That brings me to my last question. कि एक कंट्री लाइक पाकिस्तान जिसमें let's say 80% of the healthcare system is based in not the most advanced areas. I belong from Sindh, मैं कराची से belong करता हूँ, and I know कि सिंध में क्या state है, and I've been to medical camps अपने कॉलेज के with my college mates. तो मैंने वहाँ पे देखा है कि पेशेंट्स को किस तरह से ट्रीट किया जा रहा होता है, जो the overall state of the place there, right? तो मुझे तो वहाँ पे एआई इन द नियर फ्यूचर कहीं यूज होता हुआ नहीं नजर नहीं आ रहा. So इस पे just guide me through a bit कि how does AI align with urban areas, तो तुम्हें पता है किस तरह align कर रहा है, but how does AI align with healthcare system in rural areas?
Yes, so in Pakistan, it has been introduced. ऐसा नहीं है कि पाकिस्तान में है ही नहीं, because in advanced hospitals like Aga Khan या Shaukat Khanum, इसके अंदर it is being used. Like I have a name here as well. It's called the neuro robotic exoscope, and it was actually introduced in 2016. तो मतलब it has been there for some time. जिसका मतलब ये है कि it is being implemented, but again in rural areas, तो उसमें फिर वही आ जाती है टेलीमेडिसिन वाली बात, और slowly educating the people, और फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता दे विल अंडरस्टैंड हाउ एआई वर्क्स. और फिर इसमें ये है कि वी हैव टू मेक इट मच मोर एक्सेसिबल, कि मतलब उनके लिए एक्सेस इजी हो. अभी ये है कि जीपीटी मॉडल्स या जितने भी इस तरह की जो हमारे पास टूल्स हैं, वो काफ़ी महंगे हैं. तो एट द वी हैव टू ब्रिंग इट economic, we have to make it economically viable. रियल लाइफ सिनेरियोज में पीपल आर चैट जीपीटी में है, तो वी आर लर्निंग हाउ टू यूज इट, बट वही के ट्रायल एंड एरर से काम होगा. यानी कि यू हैव टू अप्लाई इट एंड ओनली देन वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड हाउ इट वर्क्स.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much, Eddie. That brings us to the end of this podcast. A really valuable session, I would say. Uh, I personally learned a lot out of it, and just being a medical student, so I can only imagine how helpful this would be for any other person out there watching this. So once again, thank you for your valuable input. Thank you for your time, and yeah, that's it for the podcast. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.
Thank you, thank you. It was incredible talking to you. And just for those medical students, maybe I'll put out one life experience, one personal experience of my own. जिसमें ये कि there was a viva I was giving. It was like in doing my professional examinations, and this was almost 3 years ago when AI was not very in everyone, a lot of people weren't using it. But because I
बातचीत में
was
नहीं आया था
interested
उसमें.
in, हाँ ये कह सकते हैं. सो आई थिंक उस वक्त भी मैं यूज कर रहा था, और ये था कि उस वक्त कुछ क्वेश्चन है जिनका जवाब किसी को भी नहीं आ रहा था. एंड आई looked it up on chat gpt, and I there were those 3 points, and then I told my friend, and he went and recited those 3 points word by word, and the teacher didn't get up until he had recited everything, single one of those. So I think that was one thing that impressed me a lot. So I think even for medical students या जो लोग ये सुन रहे हैं तो उनके लिए कि they can use AI a lot now and they should be learning how to use it.
हाँ, आई कम्प्लीटली एग्री कि देयर शुड बी एब्सोल्युटली नो शेम इन यूजिंग एआई। हम खुद एज मेडिकल स्टूडेंट्स जब भी हमारे लाइक वाइवास वगैरह होते हैं, सबके लाइक फोन्स खुले हुए होते हैं, एवरीवनस सर्चिंग टर्म्स ऑन चैट जीपीटी, तो लास्ट मिनट प्रिपरेशन ताकि जितनी भी नॉलेज आप क्रैम कर सकते हो लास्ट मिनट में हो जाए, एंड सो दैट यू नो एवरी सिंगल थिंग बिफोर यू गो इनटू द एक्चुअल एग्जामिनेशन। सो या, again, and AI is everywhere, and it's spreading as faster than we actually know. And before it actually takes over us, it should be us that that should be taking over AI and actually using it to our assistance. So yeah, completely agree with that.